Oh, well. I just learned this year and I started it off, but we're really at the beginning and I forgot to record it, so I'm going to do it by myself this time. And let me bring this over here and we'll go through it. We didn't really go that far, and so it won't be that difficult for me. We're over here in the Sifra Niusa in the Otsa Urim, and now we're going to come in and see what the Rishonim, all these different Rishonim, are saying about our Inyan, about what happens to the body in the seventh millennium. So it says, Mavor Ramban, B'Torah Adam B'Shar HaGomel. I think I'm in the right place, yes. He says, there, over there, he says that the neshamos, that's the or of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, will remain inside of our bodies. She is gaber koach neshama alagupa, where the things will change, and you'll have an overpowering of the power of the neshama over the body. So now we get into the exact words that he said. That's the conclusion, and he wants to say like this: HaKadosh Baruch Hu osa dechem kanfayim, that at this time the tzaddikim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make for them wings. V'hem shatim al panei hamayim, and they will fly over the face of the water. Now let me explain this. He says, Pirusha is a kanfayim levishas hanefesh malachos. Now we learned this the last time. He said that the wings, what does it mean? It means that the nefesh will clothe itself in malachos. It rises up to a level where winged creatures, which are malachim, which are not physical in our world, and can reach it. Bibuchinas malach, he says. Because lavish agufi masa, the clothing of the body with the malach. And what's the purpose of it? Is that when it clothes itself inside of the malach, it protects itself from the nullification that's going to come out as a result of the yisodos, of the bittul of the yisodos. What are the yisodos? They're called arma, which are aish, which is fire, ruach, which is wind, mem is mayim, and the last one is afar. So he says that these four become nullified. After they come back to life in the Techiyas Amazing, they will live in a world of infinity. They'll never go back into the concept of the dust, which is the concept of from the dust you come, the dust you go, like that. We came out of nowhere, and we're going to go back into our bodies. We'll go back into. Will not happen again. This is the Ramchal. Because now the I think he means to say that the fact that the body is still alive really depends on the nefesh. The kiyum nefesh b'das elyon. So then the question is how does the nefesh become so powerful? Because it connects. And this is our concept of our elevator. He says it connects, is able to rise up on the middle line to the upper das. And then therefore the one which is sustained because it was at the bottom and the shefa from up above was pouring into it, now it's going to become a kayim, like the one that's keeping the rest. In other words, keeping the body. The nefesh, which was the recipient, is now going to be the giver. So he because it makes a yichud over there with this das elyon. So even though we said that when we're talking about the Churban Olam, and let me correct what I said up above. This is the Ramban talking now. And even though that I believe that there's belief about the fact that the world will be destroyed, and that's in the seventh millennium. That it will become more fortified in regards to everything in truth, and that's going to be more powerful. So it would be that you will see that the nefesh will be seen to be more powerful than the body. The davka b'das elyon, and it really has to do with the fact that it's davek to the das elyon. So ka'inyan kiran panei Moshe. This is like the horns, the radiance that was coming off of the face of Moshe Rabbeinu Kamo Chama, that he shone like the sun. So for Ayidei Zeb, which is the concept of the Das Elyon, he says. V'ayin sham od ba'orech, it goes into that more. V'rei gam la'el sham, so look over there as well. Ki kiyum nefesh b'syachad b'das elyon, so the fact that the nefesh maintains itself by das elyon. Ki kiyum malachim, it's the same idea of the malachim, that it become attached to the malachim in this way to save itself, and it's able to do that. It's like being attached also to the das elyon. Because alas a nefesh al the guf of atelis kochos agufius. And since this nefesh is now able to attach itself to the das elyon, it's up above the guf. That's what he's saying. Now let's look down here now at this number. So get even lower. At this number lamed, which is really where we were headed all along. And this is where he picks up the Ramchal. So we learned a little bit, and we're going to stop in the middle, you'll see. He says, Rei Mashabir Bezecha Ramchal, Badas and Tavuna. He says, Elef Ashvi, that our seventh millennia, Adayim Lo Nischadish Ha'olam, then the world is not going to be changed, it's not going to be renewed again. V'atzadikim, Hen Kamosha Chaya B'Tachis Amazing, the tzaddikim that we've been talking about, they're going to be in the same kind of condition that we're in at the time of the Tachis Amazing. Ella Shal Kodesh Baruch Hu also the confined, but the difference is that they now have wings because they're related to what's beyond the physical magnetic world. So that's what I was thinking about is that the concept of Malchus and Offer and all this has a lot to do with gravity. The fact that we're tied, everything in this world is tied to the physicality of this world. And that's why he said, V'amna ma'olam kamoshahu atom. The world will still be like it is now. Hine anachnu ro'im shachaguf yesh lo kol ha'shlita, that the body, this is the way things are now, that the body has all the control. Short of a base, so it's like a shleiba ki'ish, like a man who's living in his house. In other words, he controls, he's the master of the house. Ki zecha bekomo below acher, because this world, this is the place where the body is strong. Ak be'elef hashvi, but what happens is in the seventh millennia, he said, he not tzadikim is alim in the aretz, the tzadikim come up from the world, come up above the earth. In other words, they become non-gravitational, not pulled by gravity the same way. The nishar guf chutz mimkom shifto, and what happens as a result of that is that the comfortable place where the body is normal is not there anymore. Beino ela keish noided b'makom. It's like a person that wanders away from his home. Orach noita lalun, or let's say like a guest, a visitor, looking for a place to sleep. He's in the wrong place. Okay, lo sisharu lo, therefore there will not remain for the goof shlita, won't be in charge anymore because it won't be home. Elaka Moshe Rabbeinu, is everything going to be like Moshe Rabbeinu. Ba'aloso hahara, when he went up to the mountain. Shekevish is alam in the aretz lo halak od b'derek yoshvei haaretz. So since he went up from the earth, he's no longer a resident of the earth. He's a visitor to the earth and bringing us all this tremendous amount of light. So we'll pick this up on the backside. This is Baruch Fleischman. We'll see you soon. Let's look at number Lamed again and start from the beginning. This is about the Ramchal. The Ramchal has a version of the same kind of ideas. He says, Rei Masha Bir Bezechem Ramchal Badas Tavuna, Bas Tavunos, it's called. Ela Shavi Adayim Lochon Ischadish Ha'olam. In that time, the world is not completely renewed. B'chat Tzadikim, Him Kamosho Choy B'tachis Amesim. So the situation, which is also hard to imagine, it's the same as it was in the time that the kids amazing, but there are bodies and there are bodies. Ella Shachakolish Baruch also the confined, but the difference is that now the tzaddikim have wings. The world, the physical world, is just like it is now. So let's go back and let's see that the body is in charge in this world, like a person who's, I guess, is shalit in his house. This is his kingdom, so to speak. So this is his place, not someplace else. This is it. This is where man's bodies and our lives are. We live here. This is us. Akba Elif Ashbi, what happens is, Hinech Tzadikim Misalmim Min Armitz. Now, Misalim, I don't know, it could mean that, because certainly it does mean that they go up, but I think it means, huh?
Yes, they're elevated.
Yeah, but it could also mean that they're hidden.
No, that would be spelled differently. That was Misalim, not Misalim.
Okay, Misalim Min Haaretz. So they go up from the earth. V'nishach b'guf chutz mimchon shivto. So the body now is no longer in the place where it's comfortable. It's only like a person who's wandering away from his normal place. A person who's a visitor, is looking for a place to stay. Okay, lo sishar lo leguf shlita. So the guf loses its control. Elika Moshe. So, but like, let's say like Moshe, the Banu. Wait just a second. Rabbeinu Olav Shalom. Sorry. Ba'aloso HaTorah, when as he went, as the Torah, Ba'aloso HaHara. Oh, there it is. So I'm not seeing so great. Shekeben Sheniz Alach in the Aretz, that once he left the physical land, Lo Cholok Od B'derek Yoshvei Aretz, he no longer went in the same way that other human beings do. So therefore, in the 7th millennium, the rabbis called it, I guess, Yom Shekulu Shabbos Menucha D'Chai Olamim. It's a day that's always only Shabbos, and the rest the Chai Olamim for everlasting. Shob Sambo Mikol Hamalechas Agufnis. So person, what's that word? Shovsam. So they rest from that. He comes back from that. Doesn't have to do it anymore. All the malachos that are necessary for the body, I guess, like eating and drinking. Shehei machol. That's the weekday. Aka guflo sar adaim and mitziyusa. But still, even in that situation, which if you're not doing gufni dikkat things, then how does the body? Is a question. How does the body remain? Aka guflo sar lo sar adaim and mitziyusa. It has not left its original state. Kilo nitan chidush shadayim the bria, because up until this point, the world has still not been renewed. Nothing new came out of this. Adkan, so therefore, in other words, the man is still there. Rei od b'klalim rishonim Ramchal. He has other things. B'sefer, I don't know this word. Piskei Chochma. He says the Ramchal. He says Ayin Sham b'rei gam ba'adir b'maram. And then the 7th millennia will come. The Chaser Hatsura, to be able this way, I guess he says over there, that there will be a removal of the form, of the physical form. Mikol Hanhagos Azmanis. So the necessity for physicality, it's a very little bit of in one case you said the body's going to remain. But here he said, so the physical form will leave Mikol Hanhagos Azmanis. In other words, time will stop. All the things that really have to be done at the right time. You get disappointment, you get that one, you got to go here, you got to do something to make food. All this takes time. But let me just translate it again and see if I was kind of putting my own ideas in there. He says, Yavu Elef Ashvi, L'Hasach Hatzoras Agashmis. So with the Tzura Agashmis, Mikol Hanhagos Azmanis, from all of the way that time works, that are necessary for doing this or that. This leads to that. That leads to this. That all's going to stop. So is charav kula b'treis shati, and that's the secret of the whole thing. Will be destroyed in those 12 hours. Now that's not developed yet. We have a few more minutes, just a little. So let's look at this next one. This is the concept. Enu bato b'mitzios the gamri. It's not completely and totally destroyed. Rei gam b'sefer shir kuma l'ramak. Look at that sefer. And there's a place to look down below. We'll see if that's a site reference. V'hu gam sheha'arech levado das ha-sovrim, that is coming to what? Arich, the layout, and to nullify the das ha-sovrim shebakol shmita in every 7 shvi shevalafim shana, that through that whole time, it's battle of Metzias the Gamri B'kol, but everything, it will be totally, completely eliminated. The B'kol Shemitah Yesh Neshamas Acheros and Metzias Acheros. This is what he's saying like that. The world could go out to see potentially 21,000 years. I mean, I don't know how he's talking about. The Yesh Neshamas Acheros and Metzias Acheros are going to be a different reality with a different place for the Neshamas. Ba'arech L'chavech B'raiku She'en Okay. So he goes to lays out why it is and to bring rayos that it's not that. Because of Shemini reads like that, the Ramak, and he said, She'ein ha'olam charav b'kol, the world is not going to be completely, totally eliminated. As she'yishar la'olam she'eris chayzer l'nivne. I saw in another piece about the sprouts of tzaddikim. This is in the Tikkun Zohar that I'm learning right now. Is that the Tikkun Zohar says that even though the world could be destroyed, but nonetheless there's going to be sprouts of the tzaddikim. They grow again. Ella sheyishar la'olam she'eris chayzer v'nivne, so they'll come back and be built again. It's not that it's completely eliminated, just wiped out. What's the Gemara says? V'chav charov. There's one yirtzak inyan churban shenechrav v'nishar churban. So he said one will be one of the 1,000 years, I guess, it would be completely destroyed. Yirtzak inyan churban shenechrav v'nishar churban. That is a building or a structure that was destroyed, but it's going to remain still a destroyed structure. So it says maybe it's also the concept if we have leftovers. Because the concept, I think, like lo yitzdak korban, the real total idea of korban, al mitzias of reality, his nasa mikol b'kol, this means that everything is gone. V'alomo al metzias sharsho, and everything will go up then to the root of the reality of its root. V'chozeres advarim al mitziusam, and then things will come back the way they used to be. Wait a minute. V'chazares advarim al mitziusam lo ya'amar aleichem korban. But when something comes back to the original way that it was, it could grow again. I guess that's what he's saying. I think that's what he's saying. It's a little hard, the language. Let's go back over here. You have like 1 minute. Ki lo yitzdak churban el mitzius hanistato mikol b'kol. It's not proper to say churban el mitzius hanistato mikol b'kol, where everything in total is totally, completely eliminated. Alamo el mitzius sharsha, where everything goes back up into the reality of it, where it came from. And then things come back to the way they were. Lo ya'amar aleichem churban. Okay, that's a difficult sentence.
Your window started going up. Who was it?